Trifolium repens. Nickname for this plant is ping pong ball. This is part 1, and in part 2 I'll be sharing with you a mnemonic or memory technique to help you commit to memory the most distinguishing characteristics of this plant. For identifying purposes, be sure to watch all of part 1 so that part 2 is understandable. This is a weedy plant. As you can see, the petals are white. They can also be a whitish pink. Most of the plant crawls along the ground. We'll see slides of more details of that later. The flower heads atop flowering stems, which grow up to 6 inches long, are erect. This is the only part of this particular plant which rises above the ground. It forms in colonies. As you can see, the flower heads are roundish or oval in shape. This is where the plant derives its nickname from, ping pong balls. If you see ping pong balls along the ground, then perhaps you have this particular plant. It's mat forming. Again, forms in dense clusters. Just as a side note, the hardest part of the mnemonic coming up in part 2 is remembering that the flower heads of the ping pong ball plant are smaller than regulation size ping pong balls, which are 1.5 inches across, whereas these flower heads grow approximately 3/4 of an inch in diameter. But in the notes of the mnemonic description, there's an option for you to remember this, where you can associate this particular plant with hailstones, because hailstones are approximately 3/4 of an inch across. That was the alternate, or what could have been the nickname for this plant, hailstones. But I decided to go with ping pong balls because, again, all explained in the notes of the mnemonic in part 2 or on the fact sheet at survivalplantsmemorycourse.com. Ping pong balls. This painting shows us several things. First off, let's look at this calyx here. The calyx is what holds or cradles the petals. There are 5 needle-like teeth on the calyx or atop the calyx, and the teeth are equal to or less than the length of this calyx tube. The calyxes are light green. They can also be white. This is what's referred to in botany as a compound leaf, compound many parts. This compound leaf has 3 leaflets. Incidentally, to be more specific, this is a palmate compound leaf. Palm, similar to a palm, where the leaflets originate from the same point. Palmate compound leaf, 3 leaflets. the characteristic clover form. The leaflets are oval in shape. They are minutely toothed, have what is referred to in botany as a chevron or V shape here on each leaflet. The chevrons are also, like the calyx, either white or light green. This represents the stolons. This stem is what creeps along the ground, representing its root system. There are joints or nodes at intervals along this stem or stolon. Deriving from or originating from each of these intervals are the compound leaves and the roots going into the ground. Character or identifying characteristics of this plant is that the roots are at the or develop from the joint intervals or nodes. The stems are anywhere between 4 to 16 inches long. The leaf stalk or stem can be from 1 to 3 inches long. And let's see what else we have here. Nothing that I can't cover in future slides. Let's go on to another slide. Another example of the rooting nodes and the leaves which derive from them, featuring the 3 leaflets. This is the rare 4-leaf clover. This painting or picture shows us how the ovalish or roundish leaflets are also slightly notched here at the tip. They are certainly not as distinctively heart-shaped as one of its lookalikes, the oxalis. In this particular course, the oxalis nickname is Love, Love, Love for the 3 heart-shaped leaflets. Love, Love, Love is the springboard to that plant's mnemonic. Shows us how the flower heads can also be slightly pink, just slightly. But it should also remind you of the ping pong balls. Now this is one of the condensed or dense flower heads, composed of between 40 and 100 individual flowers or florets. These flower heads are borne on an unbranching stalk. There are no branches on the stalk, and the stalk is also hairless. Like I said before, it is approximately 3/4 of an inch across. This here is an individual flower or floret. I selected this picture because it is what distinguishes all plants in the pea family, which this one is of, all plants or species of plants within the pea family bear what are referred to as the wing and keel floret formation. There are 5 petals. One, the largest, is what is referred to as the banner. There are 2 shorter or smaller petals, which are referred to as the wings. These are wings. And 2 more petals, one here and one here, which are fused together, that form the keel, as in the keel of a boat. This would be an inverted bottom part of a boat, or the keel. Now within this keel, when this flower matures and goes to seed, it becomes a legume, or the fruit, which inside bears the seeds. Again, technically there are 5 petals here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Going to seed, the flowers or florets turn brown. And when harvesting these plants, you'll never want to harvest any flowers or leaves which look unhealthy, which are spotted, turning brown, or wilting. The details of that hazard or caution are on the fact sheet of this plant at survivalplantsmemorycourse.com. Trifolium repens, white clover, or the ping pong ball. Notice here how the leaflets are minutely toothed or serrated around the edges. Here again, see the minutely toothed edges of each leaflet. The chevrons or V-shapes can be absent completely, but let's ignore that option just for safety purposes, and because the chevrons are usually present, I am in this course just going to harvest and ask you to just focus on the point, or on the fact that the chevrons will be present, and again, which in most cases they will be. However, the chevrons are not always very clear or distinct. Here we see how they can be diluted or not as distinct as in one case as they might be in another case. 3 leaflets, stalks 1 to 3 inches long. Chevrons more distinct on this plant than they are here in this plant. They're a bit diluted. At the base of each leaf, again, this is a leaf with 3 leaflets. As a side note, this particular image is not of the ping pong ball plant, it is of the cotton candy plant or the red clover, which is of the same course, the plant previous to this one. Notice the more lance-shaped or oblong-shaped leaflets of this plant, which is again of the cotton candy plant. But it serves a purpose in showing you how the ping pong ball plant here, as the cotton candy plant, has at the base of its leaf stalk, where the axis of where the leaf stalk meets the leaf stem, there is a stipule or appendage which grows. It is membranous. This is another example here. There are two of them and they are lance shaped. Oval or roundish leaflets, minutely toothed. This is a picture of the seeds. They're very tiny. The surface is smooth, they're heart-shaped, they're flat. The edible parts of this plant are the leaves, the flowers, the roots, and the seeds. To learn how to prepare these parts for edibility purposes, visit survivalplantsmemorycourse.com, and there you will find a methods of preparation section. Not really a section, but it's a feature of the fact sheet. This has been part 1, and in part 2 I'll be sharing a mnemonic or memory technique to help you commit to memory the most distinguishing characteristics of this plant for identifying purposes. Thank you for watching.